I'm pretty sure just before the show started, Jenks is like, I'm going to fiddle with this. I'm going to do that.
Fiddled with absolutely nothing for the record. In fact, I
Yep.
said to AJ 1 hour ago, I think you should get onto the system, make sure everything's all good so we're not dealing with it at the last second. And in fact, he did. But still, the technical issues arose.
With 13 seconds left, Jenks is like, yeah, explaining the boom. Let's turn the lights on. I'm like, settle down, relax.
But seriously, welcome on board, everyone, to another episode of Card Authority Australia. Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone. Oh, Mitch, Wade, Pete, Don,
Mason.
Kane.
Big shout out to young Mason, Jack, with
Robert. Yep.
Wado, how you doing? G'day, Don.
Yeah.
Big man from over at BAM.
Yep.
So they hit a big milestone with their UFC page. I think they reached a peak membership level or something like that.
Excellent.
Competitions going on. Very cool.
Excellent. And we've got a very special guest in the studio today.
Yeah, Matusa's here with us.
The Minx. There's the Minx.
Jacket out of the way here.
Yeah.
Oh, that was just my leg on the table. But
wow.
Let's not worry about that.
Well, it's all happening. G'day, Daniel. How are you? Pete,
good to see you.
Troy,
hello,
Solly.
Troy. Hey, Solly.
All right. Well, look, thank you very much, as always, for joining us at Card Authority. It's always fun to be here on Hump Day. Lots of things going on. We're not going to talk about Richmond tonight. Well, hopefully not too much. Yeah, the Minx is here. Minx, say hello to the fans.
Everyone.
Yep. So the Minx is in here just, well, I don't know. He's like the work experience kid. He just wants to be everywhere. That's great. We love him. But look, it's been really, really big couple of weeks since we've last spoken to you. Obviously, it's fair to say the prestige frenzy or mania has probably dropped down a little bit.
Yeah.
But in turn, what we've actually seen is a new kind of frenzy and demand on all sorts of singles.
Across the board on all sorts of stuff. And it's the frenzy around a new release definitely lasted longer than what it has in the past. Like, harder, longer, like just bigger. Normally when a new release would taper off after 1 or 2 weeks, I feel like this one was just kicking really hard for like a month. So yeah, it's interesting. People seem to have their sets done. Yep. And normally what you would start to see historically would be like a pause between releases.
Yep.
People starting to replenish their bank accounts, sort through their cards, work everything out. But what we're seeing at the moment is, I think there's just so much new participation taking place. There is just demand pretty much across the board for previous releases, really particular types of cards as well. It's really interesting what's going on at the moment, and it just shows the real strength of what's going on with AFL cards, especially, which is really in contrast to what's going on with a lot of other sports cards at the moment and the dip that they're taking.
Well, look, we've obviously touched on a few times, not only with this release, but in the past, that the way now that the direction is going, that more stock is getting hands of the collectors. And this is a little bit to do with SEC, but also the way Select are distributing product, I guess,
the way people are consuming it as well, because
it's getting consumed faster and harder.
That's right.
More cards are out there for people to collect their sets. So people that are coming in are not only getting their hands on boxes, whereas in the past they're sitting in a warehouse somewhere or an office.
And you might have taken
people are looking for more things to do.
And it's also, I think that there is a fear, I suppose you could call it, and it's a realized fear as well. It's legitimate that if you don't get the cards you need early, especially if you're after particular numbers, you may not get them at all, just because you're now competing against so many other people in the hobby as well.
I definitely know some. We talked about this a little bit. It felt like in the first week or the first 4 to 5 days, there were infinite jumper numbers and low numbers and all that kind of stuff around. And now
you can't find it anywhere.
They're gone. If you're trying to chase those sorts of sets, they are absolutely gone.
How much stock do you reckon is actually out there still, like sealed?
I would say, what is there? So there's 700 cases. I would be shocked if there's 100.
Yeah,
I'd be shocked if there's 15% that isn't open.
Yeah, I was going to say, I can't imagine there would be more than 10 or 15% max.
Yeah, absolutely.
Still out there sealed.
Yeah.
What does Wadey say? I reckon prices are lowering. Here's the thing with Prestige.
I'll put that up on the screen, obviously, because obviously people are listening to us on Spotify.
We're seeing something a bit different, Wade. So, there's certainly...
So, let me just read the question. So, Wade asks, I reckon prices are lowering because there's so much stock opened and you can typically find what you need. What do you think?
I think it's certain cards which are printed in a higher quantity are lowering, but any cards that are desirable players or desirable teams are becoming really hard to find, and it's having the opposite effect. They're going up significantly in value. Look at the cost of greens right now compared to where they were 3 weeks ago, and also the availability of the greens.
They're not around.
Yeah, they're not around. And it's also happening with the vote leaders as well. Probably Wade, I suppose, probably you're predominantly collecting GWS. So GWS is a little bit of an outlier because it doesn't have as much of a collector base. And therefore, after that frenzy of the initial collectors getting their sets done, you've now got all the excess GWS on the market. And I would say the same for teams like Gold Coast and, you know, there's a few of them, but it's probably, you know, it's to a lesser extent now than what it was in the past with some of those teams. Like a year ago, Fremantle would have had plenty of excess at this point. Right now, I don't think they do. Brisbane seems to be in the same boat this time around as well. And then you switch it up to those higher side, to the, you know, the more top tier sides in terms of the fan base and collector base. And the cards are pretty much unavailable. Like,
well, as Asher just said, their prices are lowering because most of the cards on the market at the moment are from lesser teams.
And that's exactly in line.
And I can certainly speak from what we've looked at with through our eBay account that obviously has a wide range of teams.
Yeah,
I'm getting tons of offers for Brisbane.
Yeah,
you know, whereas I think 12 months ago or 18 months ago,
you would sit there for 12
you could buy your
months,
Brisbane cards, whatever you want.
Yeah, that's right, whenever you want.
And it would be interesting, obviously, if you're still on the line, Wade, about whether, and I guess it's a small sample size because you're still relatively new, but I wonder if any GWS collectors from 12 months ago are finding it the same or harder to get those cards this year. Because I would have to think it is a little bit more harder.
I think for all teams across the board, because you've not only got team set collectors, but you've got new master set collectors that have emerged,
Absolutely.
or you've got older master set collectors who have come back into the market and come back into the hobby again.
Actually, another question here from AJ Gribbs. Damn, no Saints greens around for some reason.
It's not me. But
I look, Gribbler, I'm not too sure, but maybe there might be some.
It does raise something interesting, which I have mentioned to a couple of people, is that, you know, it's no secret that I like to collect multiples of certain things.
What?
However, this year I've got 20 to 25% of the volume of what I was able to get last year of the series in terms of, so if I got 10 cards of a particular player last year, I'm only getting 2 to 3 of them this year, but it's essentially costing me the same price as what I spent in total.
I think it's happening. It's happening across other teams. And look, Solly's just said, find a Chad Wingard green. Impossible. And he's obviously traditionally a very soft seller. And I think you're finding that across multiple players. There seems to be a player from every team.
Yeah.
And look, we can always exclude Richmond and I guess Collingwood to a certain extent.
Yeah.
But there seems to be a player. And
at least one player from every team.
Squid's just actually nailed it right on the head there. So Petrarca from Melbourne, Sloan from Adelaide, Rosie from Port, Walsh, Bont, Cripps, Steele, and I mean I would add Ben King from Gold Coast. The list goes on.
The conversation, and I'm sure
Nick Nat.
We're having the conversation with people who are coming through our storefront or people who we're chatting to online, which I think is a reflection.
Well, you know that. Then
I think it's a reflection of the broader conversations going on in the hobby at the moment. If we're talking about it with other people, the fact that the trends at the moment are every single team has at least one player being bulk collected.
Yep.
And there are multiple people collecting low numbers.
Yeah, dangerous.
There are multiple There are multiple people doing multiples. It's multiples on multiples. The cards are numbered to 60. What everyone in the hobby's talked about since last year about these greens numbered to 60 over a period of time will become very scarce. Yep. That period of time is just compressing closer and closer. As more and more people come through, it's just the period's getting tighter. So instead of taking 6 months for the card to go from $30 to $100, it's now opening at $50 and going to $200 in 3 to 4 weeks, and then it's gone.
Yeah, and look, Gribbs has just said that basically in his comment as well. It's a spot on there. Mid-release of Prestige 2020 was when the hobby skyrocketed. Greens from 2020, early on, you could get for $20 to $30.
Spot on.
Didn't take long for them to rise quickly.
Spot on.
And we've certainly noticed across a lot of teams, as you just said, the demands for greens, and we've been crying out this for ages.
Yeah.
Cards numbered to 60, and it's no secret. We've talked the Brownlow vote getters from last year, Brownlow leaders this year.
They're numbered to 80.
It's the same as a footy's finest.
The realization isn't there with respect to their numbers, and as a result of that, they may still be available now, some of them, But the reality is,
They
over
are
a
gonna
period of time, they
disappear.
dry up.
Yep.
All you
absolutely.
need is a total of 80 80 people to only be able to have one each of each of those cards. You know what I mean? So once you combine
Wow.
team collectors, subset collectors, and then master set collectors,
Yep.
plus your people who are doing multiples of particular plays and stuff, cards number to 80, that they disappear very quickly. I still, this is not an attempt to inflate the value of the card. I very openly say I buy those cards for St Kilda, more than one of them, when they're at these $30 price points and stuff, because I truly believe in 2 years' time, you won't be able to find any of them for under $100. They won't exist, and they'll probably be a lot more than that.
And I think so. And look, Hayden, you just made a good point, which I'll get to in a second. But we talk about bulk collecting. Bulk collecting is not literally someone going and getting 30 out of the 60.
No,
But say
more than one.
But someone like me,
Yeah.
I have 2 sets
Yeah.
going. And, enough people know that I've got a Richmond set
Yeah.
and I've got a Dusty
Yeah.
set. So unfortunately for me, I need to get 2 of every
To
Dusty
fulfill your
card.
set, yeah.
So suddenly, if you're talking marquees or greens, you're taking away 5% of the production run
Immediately.
immediately.
That's right. And there's a lot of people who are doing the same thing.
Absolutely.
And that's the thing. And as much as it can be frustrating sometimes that it's hard to get cards,
So good.
it's
So,
a reflection. We wouldn't be able to have access to the cards if the strength of the hobby wasn't there, because the publishers wouldn't
Absolutely.
be able to produce them. So
yeah, and so look, Hayden's asked a ripper question here. Why then is a green harder to get than marquees when marquees are numbered to 40 and they're going for more than marquees? So my take on this, you might have a different view, is that there's probably a perception because everyone that opens a box is getting at least 1 green.
yeah,
So they think, I'll just hang on to that. Whereas if you're getting a marquee and you're lucky enough to hit a marquee, you're looking to probably
turn it over.
turn so you can either get more boxes or more cards or whatever. And in certain cases, before this year, there were not many greens that were worth more than $400.
So
There's multiples.
So I think the thing with greens is there also needs to be a consideration that it's not just a team collector that collects the parallel sets. There's a lot of people that actually collect the full parallel set,
Yep.
or they have a bunch of particular players they want that they really like. So
Explain that more.
yeah, so you might collect St Kilda, for example,
Yep.
but you really like Bontempelli.
Yep.
So you might go do a Bontempelli rainbow. Or
Yeah, okay.
you may be a collector that you're a team collector, but you also like that particular subset. Like
Yep.
you may be a DPS set collector or overall seed collector, whatever it is. So you may be someone that did the full set last year of parallels, and therefore this year you want to continue that in your collecting. So as a result, you're pulling those cards off the market really quickly, and
Yep.
that's why you see some of the green prices escalate so high. Because and also we're in an era now where there's a lot of speculation going on. So people are land banking cards, so to speak, in real estate terms. They are looking at players that they think will hold or have higher value in the future.
Let me hold that thought. And Groove's just put up a good point there. And if you're collecting for 2 kids, etc., for a future investment for them,
Absolutely,
you're building that set. And obviously everyone knows Gribble is a St Kilda collector. If he's doing 2 sets of St Kilda greens, they're not moving at any time.
No.
He's putting them away for
Correct.
a draw for his kids to pick later on.
And that is again one of the motivators of what drives up price.
Yep.
Is availability, and we often talk about depth and what really is the depth of the market.
Yep.
And this is the big thing about comps and people understanding comparative pricing. When you look at something like eBay, well, yes, first port of call, look at the completed listings and the pricing. However, if you're then looking what's currently available on the market and there is nothing available on the market, it's a representation that the demand is outstripping the level of supply. And as a result, the last completed comp is not necessarily spot on with what the value is, because is the next person going to be prepared to sell it for that price?
Yeah, and I'd even argue, and Jared, I'm going to get to your question in a second. I see that. Comps, I think, are obviously, very big in the NBA scene.
Yeah.
And they haven't really been as prevalent in AFL because I just don't think there's as many cards around to provide. But as you said, if someone buys, and we said this very early on in one of our shows, if someone else sells a card for $50, and then a week later someone goes and buys it for $70, there's no reason why that card isn't going to be $80 or $90 next time, because
100%.
the card is no longer $50.
But all it takes is one person to come along as well to change the valuation of a certain type of card. The Petrarca Green is a probably really well-known
Great example.
modern example. The Petrarca Green We had one, we sold it first week for what, $110 or $120. A few more sold at that price. If you were to look up at that point in time, that was the comp value.
Mhm.
Someone then decided to put one up at $400. It was the only one available. Someone came and purchased that at 400. Someone else went at 450. It got purchased. All of a sudden, benchmarked up at $450, $500. However, all it takes is for someone to, and several people who are collecting, to decide that they don't want to pay that price. A seller then budges, comes down, and it can come down the other direction. But
Absolutely.
it's the prices are constantly moving.
As the demand grows,
it's
and
like
more people
anything.
come in.
It's worth what someone is prepared to pay. Sure, there's always these indicators that give you a guide, but at any given point in time, something is worth what someone's prepared to pay, especially if there's not much of it available.
Definitely. And look, Jared's asked a question here, and look, I'll answer, and then you can answer too. Would you like to see numbers increase or stay the same, say greens to 100? My answer is definitely not increase. But what I like is them creating new subsets. And clearly Select saw the demand for the parallel type of card last year.
Yeah.
So instead of messing with the greens and the 60s, and if you guys remember, before the release of 21 Prestige, everyone's like, I don't want the greens again. The greens are silly. Why do they do it? And they've gone nuts.
Yeah.
But by bringing in the blues, which are numbered to 125, you then create a whole new chase of a card, and it doesn't devalue what the greens are.
So I totally agree with AJ's position on this as well. However, playing devil's advocate and the flip side to that position is, well, as the demand increases due to participation and more people want the same cards, at what point does something become unattainable because there's not enough and turn someone off from being a collector and wanting to collect? And it's a really interesting one. And it's funny that we're talking about this. And obviously this is coming out, for those who are only listening and not watching, this is coming out of the comments at the moment from the viewers who are raising these topics. But I was having a chat actually a couple of days ago with Sean Laffin, who's him and his brother run actually Fast Breaks. And we were talking exactly about this subject. And I was very strong of the opinion that dilution by increasing volume of print is what actually kills a product. But Sean raised some really valid points with me was, yes, but at the same time, there's so many new people collecting that if someone knows that they can't actually get something, it turns them off. And as I have to acknowledge I absolutely acknowledge that argument. And I think, and my counter argument to it was, well, I think they should be more subsets, reintroduce, either do more releases, more subsets, but maintain the same print quantity. But it still lends to the notion that if they do 3 more releases and they're still cards only numbered to 60, does it reach that tipping point or that critical mass at some point? And we've all, we always talked previously, you can't go below something numbered 25. Because then you start to alienate team set collectors. But does the numbering actually need to increase? Is it an actual proposition for the future if the participation continues to increase?
So I don't know. I don't necessarily agree with that take. Like, I think I look at it the same way as a football club membership. Okay. So there are, let's say,
there's still the same amount of seats available.
Well, hang on, there's 10,000 Richmond members that get guaranteed grand final tickets. That membership's been sold out for 3 years, as I'm sure it is with Collingwood and Hawthorn, a few others. If I can't get that membership, that doesn't mean I'm not going to go to the football and not support the team. I might be annoyed that I can't get a grand final ticket, or I'm going to have to line up for it or do something else. But we can't run with the philosophy where if I want Dusty Greens, everyone wants Dusty Greens. We should all have them, because then it just becomes
it also takes away the competitive nature, and I suppose.
But it also takes away the chase too.
That's what I mean. The competitive nature of the chase. But the other big thing is for those who were around collecting cards in the late 80s, early 90s, and remember the junk wax, what was known or is known as the junk wax era, and the big bust that happened. It was on the basis that things were printed, they were consumed and collected. They kept increasing the quantity. As the quantity increased, the market inflated, and then it hit a point and it burst. And only did the market start to swing back around when they changed the modeling over the last couple of decades as to shorter print runs. And I'm talking about international product here, obviously, and it happened with AFL as well. But shorter print runs, but more frequency of the print runs. So more products and more different subsets and variations in those products.
Yep.
And it certainly seems to be the way the AFL is going as well. And I personally, I absolutely support that. I'd rather see more releases, different types of releases, than just pumping the quantity up to 5 million cards per run.
Absolutely. But it's a happy balance.
Yeah, you got to find the balance.
Yeah,
That's right.
And look, I just want to touch on this question that Mario has answered. And look, I probably know who you're talking about, Mario, but I won't say it, obviously. How do you feel about a collector hoarding 200 to 300 greens from one club and leaving all other team set collectors with nothing? This does nothing for the hobby, in my opinion. Look, we've talked about this many times over the last couple of weeks. And look, I understand, obviously, Jenks, you'd like to get a few cards in your collection, but everyone has the same right to get the cards that we've talked about.
And the same ability to get it. They may not have the same means, but they've got the same ability.
That's right. And look, is it annoying that a card you want to buy for $100 is suddenly $200 because they're all getting snapped up?
Yeah.
Sure. I'm sure there's plenty of Melbourne collectors out there that want a Petrarca green that either didn't want to pay or couldn't afford to pay $300 or $400. But at the end of the day, if those cards are getting put up at a price and they're getting bought by a collector, well, I mean, it's an open market. So is it frustrating? Absolutely. But it gets back down to that point that I just made about the memberships, that we all want grand final tickets, but there are only so many seats there.
Yeah.
Does it change my love or my desire for the game or watching the grand final?
Yeah.
Absolutely not. Do I want to be at the game?
Yeah.
Of course. But we're all in this together. They're all on an open market. No one's, except you that own Select. Everyone is actually opening packets, whereas you get a container dropped at your house.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I've got a separate print run with my own numbers.
That's right.
They're in silver instead of gold on the back.
That's right. But, everyone has the same access to cards. And look, Mario, obviously it's frustrating. And look, Mario is another fellow Tiger collector like myself. And it's hard to get cards sometimes.
I think that key word probably around this is adaptability and the need to adapt to what's happening. And again, it goes back to where we were at the top of the show 20 minutes ago, is the concern that if you don't get in early, you won't get what you want. So it needs to be a lesson for the future, is the demand is there. This is happening, whether it's because there's a million people in the marketplace or there's one person trying to get every single certain type of card. Well, if that's happening, then when the next release comes around, you should be there front and center day one, targeting whatever cards you want. And if the thought is, well, I don't want to go day one because I don't want to pay the first set of asking prices, I suppose it's that position of, well, a week later, they just may not be there anymore. So you have to adjust your collecting style. As I have said to many people in the last few weeks myself, I've had to adjust my own style of collecting now based on how many Saints collectors there are out there. And I'm that's fine.
And Lee said the same thing, 100% about getting in early. And I'll give you guys a tangible example of this here. Everyone knows I like Richmond and I like the greens. I was buying Richmond greens for $60 to $100 in the first week.
Yeah.
But very quickly, as more people wanted them, now I've got to pay $150 or $200 or $250. It doesn't mean that I don't like the chase any less, but as more people are snapping them up and they're getting tucked away in collections, they become more expensive and more in demand.
Oh, absolutely.
So whether it's one person that's got 200 of them or it's 50 people that have got 4, it's all same. They're just getting taken off the market.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. I think we have the same sentiment, but it is what it is. And I suppose Mario, the same thing happened with Collingwood a few years ago. And
absolutely.
And I think every club is feeling the pinch. And I think it's not just because of single people who are bulking. There are multiple people.
Yeah.
And then whether they're collecting all of something or just a particular player or a particular type of card, whatever it is, it's I haven't seen a Jack Steele on the open market for 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah, because
that's a thing. And as I said, I've got 20% of what I had from last year's run. So maybe not a Jack Steele, actually.
So 98%.
Yeah. But I do have 41 of the 40 marquees.
All right, well, let's move on. And look, thanks a lot, everyone, for the questions. And as we're always happy to keep talking about this topic moving forward. It's something that's evolving, and as we use the golden word, the marketplace is maturing. Things are happening.
Yeah.
Talking about maturing, and that's a great segue, Minx. We were very pleased to be announced officially yesterday that we will be taking part in the Hobby Hangout in Melbourne. They ran a successful show up in Sydney, I believe.
A couple of months ago, yeah.
Was it just before Prestige?
I think so, yeah. That was out of the university. They set up out of the university, and from all accounts, it was a really great event. So
September the 12th, which is a Sunday, at Melbourne Pavilion, which is, I think it's the old festival hall on Racecourse Road.
No, that is not. Melbourne Pavilion is actually where they have boxing.
Oh,
yeah, with the
okay.
boxing.
So Melbourne Pavilion, obviously you'll see all the links. Dale will be there at Cherry, EJ's will be there, MJ's trading cards. All the big players are all going to be there in some sort of fashion.
Yeah,
we'll obviously be there and wearing a few hats. Minxie will be there on the stand, and
we'll be doing a live stream from there for sure.
Oh, are we?
I think that's going.
All right.
They don't know about that yet, but we're certainly.
All right, we'll be doing a live stream.
We're going to try sneak in the equipment, aka a mobile phone.
Yep,
and we'll get that happening. But again, it just shows where everything's at.
Absolutely, and I think there's definitely this is a little bit of and we'll obviously segue to this a little bit in a second, where NBA related collecting and the size of the NBA industry is kind of merging across, or I don't know if merging is the right word, but there's a crossover.
They're converging.
Converging, perfect.
Yes.
And so big shows like this, where you've got lots of big NBA players in the form of stalls and breaks and sellers, with AFL people as well, it just sets it up for a really large event.
Absolutely. It's definitely the type of event, if you wanted to get astronomical money for a base rookie year card.
Just set it out.
You could. But we're going to talk about that a bit later in the show.
Yeah.
But look, as AJ was
really
saying,
exciting.
Yeah, and to see something at scale all of a sudden, moving from just the little, I suppose, RSLs on the Sonic halls and things like that to scale events like this, it's a reflection of where things are actually at and how many people are really into cards. The people who are organizing it, which from memory is a conglomerate of people from within the hobby, more out of the NBA community, in order to put something like this on. And a lot of my background is obviously in events as well, is a lot of time, a lot of money, and a lot of resources. So for them to have the confidence to do it, they would have researched the market and know that it's strong and it exists. So,
well, again, we've talked about this for months on the show, almost a year. I don't know how long we've been doing this for now. That be brave.
Yeah.
If you want to start a breaks page, if you want to start a shop, if you want to do a card show, be brave. Give it a crack. They've obviously run a test run in Sydney. I imagine the Melbourne show will be incredibly successful. So look, we'll certainly be there in a form of RGB collectibles, but of course, Card Authority. We would love to see you all. Obviously, it's always great meeting people, and Jenks might sign a few babies or do whatever he does.
Look, photos. Every photo's got a price.
Every photo's got a price, right? But it'll be great, and I'm sure there's going to be some great things to purchase, not only from the AFL level, but also NBA. And as Dale said, they'll be there at Cherry. I know Jules and EJs will be down there. Big Jono from MJs. There's going to be a lot of the regular pages and sites.
Yeah, and lots of interstaters are setting up. The
Sports Card World are coming out from South Australia. Yep, that's great.
The guys from Jar Jar, so the regional guys. There's people from everywhere coming down for it. Really good to see. And no doubt, off the back of the announcement, which I think picked up a lot of heat, they'll get a lot more interest, and a lot more will be added and announced as well. So
there are tickets. General public tickets are on sale tomorrow morning at 9 a.m.
I think from Oztix. OZTIX.
Well, there is a link on Card Authority, but we will also reshare the link again at the end of the show, or you can find it on our page. Go and register yourself for tickets and grab a ticket and come down and see us all. We will be there. It should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it should be a good day.
All right. So
talking about good days though, AJ.
Oh.
There was a big record international sale over the last few days.
Oh, yes.
And there's some big numbers coming out as well, which are viewed in both a huge positive, but also a real negative light as well. And this, it doesn't really relate so much to certainly the domestic AFL, NRL, local product market, but it certainly does for the international product market and how that inbounds into Australia. So we'll start it off with the big positive is that, what was it? Steph Curry?
Steph Curry.
Yeah, Steph Curry card sold for $5.9 million US, which is an astronomical amount, and probably is a bit of a pushback, I suppose, against the big narrative of NBA cards really dropping off at the moment. So that's another huge record sale, and it's picked up a lot of publicity and as we all know, publicity generates further interest and more people come in.
Yep.
But to counterbalance that piece of news, June, the month of June, the biggest ever month of grading in the history of PSA,
Yep.
with a whopping, 736,000 cards graded.
Yep.
Now, let's keep in mind that they announced they were going into a pause and not taking submissions, excuse me, so they could use the month of June to catch up.
Yep.
Because there's currently like a 12-month backlog. So they were certainly catching up a backlog. But 736,000 cards just through PSA.
Yep. So you'd have to think it's probably equal that one at Beckett as well.
Maybe, probably not. I'd say probably, and Dale might be able to give a better indicator. I think PSA is going pretty hard at the moment.
Okay.
But I would like to think, that the backlog,
That'd be semi-aligned, wouldn't it?
hundreds and hundreds of thousands still.
Yeah, of course.
Probably not that amount, but it would still be significant. And I would think when Beckett comes back from their halt as well, their submission halt, they'll be.
I think you were saying that's 24,500 cards a day.
Yeah, 24,500 cards a day. Now, just to give this a bit of context, guys, I saw a couple of days ago an infographic, and I don't actually have it here, that was indicating that prior to 2018, most years prior to that for the last 20 years, so between sort of 2000 and 2018, they were grading anywhere between 5,000 and 40,000 cards for an entire year. So let's just take that again in context. More cards just got graded in the month of June in PSA than what I believe is the entire previous history of the company.
Pretty crazy.
It is a crazy, crazy thing to think about. And on one side of the coin, it represents the absolute scale of the demand and interest in trading cards, sports and gaming. This is not just basketball, it's everything that gets graded card-wise. But it's also scary to think that the market could get flooded with another 700,000 odd slabs from a single freight shipment, basically. Yep. That is a huge volume of cards to all come out at one point in time. And I suppose it begs the question, what percentage of people keep the cards that come back from grading versus who was sending their cards into grade to flip?
Well, as we know, the nature of NBA, and I'll get to that. The nature of NBA is obviously a little bit more speculative than AFL.
Yeah.
So you would think at least half of those are getting somehow flipped or something. But I thought an interesting bit of data I saw was that over 50,000 Jordan cards were in that batch of 736.
Yes, 50,000 Michael Jordan cards.
So someone's heard something, they've heard the buzz, they've seen something on TV, they've gone and opened up an old folder. Hey, I might be sitting on a house. I'm going to send it in.
The reality is that's what it is, because people aren't opening packs of Prism, pulling Jordans out and getting it graded. Yep. That is people going through their childhood collections in their parents' garages, attics, spare rooms, whatever it is, all over the world, plucking those Jordans out, sending them in to get graded, thinking they're getting $1 million cards back.
Yep.
That is absolutely what's going on. And what does it mean for the market? I don't know. I don't know what's
And
what's
Dale, obviously, who has a really good snapshot of what's going on with Beckett. Beckett are just as far behind in numbers, but they have a lot less graders and staff, etc. So it will take way longer to catch up. It takes 12-ish months to train a grader fully, so you can't just send someone over to fix the problem straight away. And I think that's certainly been acknowledged, that even when PSA did the pause, everyone's like, we'll just build another office.
Yeah.
Go and get another 200 graders or whatever.
Yeah.
This is a very specialized field.
Yeah.
And, I've seen a couple of comments earlier, obviously CGA in Australia and look, we've talked about CGA a little bit, and I don't really want to get into the debate of what's better or who's worse or all that kind of stuff. But I'm hearing that they're even hitting some delays now, because at a $15 or $20 price point, people that just want to get cards slabbed, they can't send them to PSA or Beckett.
Yeah.
So they're looking at other alternatives.
Yeah.
And everyone is filling the backlog.
Yeah.
There are so many releases and so many cards coming out.
Yeah.
Everyone is sending it off to grading.
Just going back to what Dale said, and I'm actually really intrigued by what you think about this and other people as well, Dale. For the people that don't know, Dale Edmonds, who's on the chat at the moment, is from Cherry Collectibles, but also he does all the grading submissions for Beckett and for BGS, so has a lot of insight into it. And Dale, we certainly appreciate anything that you are able to share. But so I'm feeling like if there's about to be a mega flood of PSA coming to the market, does that mean because the population of BGS is then becomes much lower compared to PSA, do we see a transition here of BGS 9.5s starting to go back and be worth more than PSA 10s, for example? Do we see the market start to level back out? Because what's really interesting is when I did my submission, I got,
here we go.
No, I did a little bit of basketball cards a couple of years
Here we
ago,
go.
and I did my first ever submission. When I did
Hey,
my submission,
what card did you
don't
get?
worry about that. But when I did my first ever submission, the Beckett 9.5s were worth more than PSA 10s. Beckett was more desirable,
Yep.
the BGSs. And then all of a sudden now it feels like PSA 10s are 30% above BGS 9.5s,
Yep.
although they're effectively, most of the 9.5s, in my opinion, are actually graded. They look better, or that they seem to be more technical in terms of how PSA grades, especially with the centering and everything. So
Yep.
are we about to actually see a shift now because it all becomes about population? There's now so many graded cards on the market. Population is the most critical factor.
I love how like about 15 comments have all popped up. Oh, the old Black Label janky. Everyone knows the story.
Hey.
Go on, tell the story.
Basically, the story is at Logan Paul's next fight, he's going to be wearing the Ja Morant Black Label on his necklace. Bang, $1 million, baby!
All right. So,
No,
yeah.
that's it.
So, look, obviously, it's going to be a really interesting thing. And, to tie this in a little bit back with AFL, which is obviously what a lot of you guys are interested in, we've been talking ages and that there is most likely going to be a shift at some point where graded cards become more prevalent in Australia. I definitely don't think we are at that point yet.
Yeah.
I think certainly cards going through CGA and getting people used to more cards in slabs could be a good step to that.
Yeah.
There's no secret. People know I've sent some cards off to PSA. There's lots of people who have sent cards off. If we then go back to what we spoke about 20 minutes ago about when Select or whoever it is, does more releases, if there's more releases and there's more different cards, does that then open the door for more things like grading?
Yeah,
Because people are like, okay, well, there's 60 greens and 60 purples and 60 minxes and whatever. Well, let's go and try to find what the better ones out of those are.
Yeah.
So then you're reducing the population.
Yeah. And look, as many people know and has been discussed before, and obviously we do talk a lot about AFL here because so much of our listener base is AFL and we're very ingrained in it. Traditionally, the AFL cards have a much higher volume of numbered cards than what short print American or international cards
very
do.
true.
So in Prism or any sort of sub brand of NBA, there's only a handful of variations that tend to have numbers, although there are short print cards that it's known that there isn't many of them around. And as a result of that, the grading is more critical when it comes to the unnumbered cards because it defines, I suppose in my mind, it defines them in a different way. It categorizes them as something, I suppose, because they become part of a scarce population that differentiates them from everything else.
Yep.
Or from the next one. So to me, although I think grading has the positive benefits in terms of value and upwards push on value for all types of cards, it's actually the unnumbered cards where I think it becomes more important.
Yep.
And in AFL, in anything really, I think.
And I've said this very early on, both on air and also privately too, that I don't see the value in going and getting a Dusty Showstopper graded because it's already a finite amount of it.
Unless you want it slabbed because you want the look of a slab.
Being slabbed and being graded, in my opinion, is two different things.
Yeah.
Getting it slabbed is more for presentation. Graded, in my opinion, is actually separating it from the other 40 to say that it is better.
Yeah.
So for me, I've already got a card that's numbered to 40, that's incredibly rare, that's expensive. Even if it comes back at a 9.5 or a 10, I still love my Dusty number 33 just as much as I did before it was slabbed.
Yeah.
Whereas, a Dusty Common, where there is infinite amount of it, well, if that comes back as a 10, well, suddenly that is a lot better card.
Well, it's a lot rarer. It becomes
rarer. That's a better
word.
word. Yeah,
because
rare is
all
better.
of a sudden you've got one of 20,000 versus one of 250 type of situation. And it's horses for courses and how people see it in terms of value.
Yep.
And I feel like the grading thing, because So two things: grading and the rookie situation in AFL will be the
it's
going to be the big debate.
It's
going to be the big debating points for the next year or two to come. As we see both of those elements of the hobby become more and more prominent due to the transition of people in cards as well.
Yeah, and actually that's a good question. Is a slab much better than displaying in a one touch? Again, this is all personal preference. I mean, personally, I've got both cards slabbed and also in one touches. I love my one touches in a bag. You know, I don't display all of my cards. I mean, Jenks has 6 million of them, so he can't display them all. He needs to put them in one touches in a way.
Based on the container.
But yeah, it certainly makes a big difference. You know what I mean? Or it's a personal preference on what difference you like.
Yeah.
Yeah, and look, yeah, Pete, look, I kind of agree with you, but I don't want to get into those details for a second. But Dale, if graded AFL cards take off here and you are ahead of the game, you'll make bulk cash. A lot of people have been sending in with us, taking the risk. At worst, they have a nice protected card, solid risk.
And that seems to be what's going on. And I personally am aware of a multitude of different people who have sent off a significant amount of cards to CGA, to PSA. I had made a statement to AJ earlier today that I thought there was currently, across all the graders, there was currently several thousand AFL cards being graded as we speak. Like probably, I think there's around 2,000 to 3,000 AFL cards currently across all the graders. When they come back, who knows? But they're definitely, it's happening. And it's going to be really interesting to see what happens with valuations when they come back.
So look, you know, obviously, if you do want to investigate more about getting your cards graded, you can certainly reach out to us, but reach out to Dale at Cherry. Lane Pierce does all the PSA stuff as well. Look, we might be looking at doing it in the future, but at the moment, those two guys are definitely the best in the business. So reach out to Dale or Lane, and I'm sure they'll be able to guide you through the process, and Dale can kick us back a little bit. All right.
Dale will hit you up for commission later.
Yeah.
Thanks. Sign commission.
Thanks.
Come on.
Dusty Cuz. It's a good little, again, nice little segue to talk about the great debate that's been going on this week. What do you? Oh, no, don't worry. I got my props ready. There's been lots of talk in the community about rookie cards, and especially in AFL, and what is a rookie card? Is there a rookie card? And hang on, what are you doing?
Sorry.
Oh, shit.
So I'm just I was just looking really dark over here, so I'm just going to turn on this extra little light.
Oh, my goodness.
Sorry, mate. Hey, that's better.
That actually made no difference. So the card in question, which I'm going to put up on the screen.
Oh, look at that. You are a technical wizard.
Wow.
I didn't know you were going to be able to pull this off tonight.
And because you've got your nice little light on, I'll leave you on the big screen.
Thanks, mate.
So this is a Dustin Martin 2010 Prestige base card. Now,
Series 2 base card.
Series 2 base card. Now, this has been labeled on eBay by a few people as a rookie card. And look, you know, and we've said this many, many times, everyone needs to do research as a seller or a buyer. We've certainly commented a few times on the show and also privately that there's probably some people taking advantage on eBay about talking about how rare and how important this card is. And as much as it's a beautiful card, and he is the greatest player of all time, and obviously, you know, history will say that he is an amazing player. But we could be talking about Gary Ablett here or Wayne Carey or whatever. It's sort of all fits in the same mold. But this card on screen has been selling for anywhere between $50 and $100.
Yeah.
This is a common card. If you buy a box of 2010 Prestige, you will probably get one or two of these in every box.
Yeah.
The debate has been roaring this week saying that this is actually Dusty's rookie card.
So cause and effect is what's going on here. Cause and effect.
Yep.
I just want to throw a little disclaimer as well. This whole conversation on what we talk about here is our opinion.
Yep.
If something's ever based on data or fully factual, we'll always say that it is.
Yep.
So what we're doing here is we're giving our opinions, and we are very conscious that there are lots of different opinions about this at the moment, but we're both, I think, we have strong opinions about everything to do with cards, including this topic. And cause and effect is what's in play here. Why does someone have the intent to label it as a rare first edition rookie card, whatever they want to do? And we need to look at why that's happening to understand then the sales going through and why it will continue to happen. And the reason it's happening, in my opinion, is because we are seeing a huge transition of people who collect other types of cards where the rookies are the really big chase and are really important.
Yep.
And they're coming into AFL and they don't know what they're seeing first up. And as a result of that, what's being advertised, marketed, promoted, whatever you want to call it,
yep,
to them first up, they buy it or they are interested in it. And as we know, and as we talk about with benchmarking, once something sells for the first time, it creates a reference, and that reference exists forever. So once something happens, the next person that may not be as informed comes along as well, and they do the same thing. And all of a sudden they've reinforced it and they've created a market. So I suppose the question is, are we going to see a market created out of this because of what's going on at the moment? And if we do, is it then just a short-term little bubble market around this stuff until people actually realize en masse what's happening?
Yeah.
So I don't like the idea of cards being mislabeled, but I'm also a big believer that it is every individual member of society's responsibility to understand what they're getting themselves into as well.
Yeah, and look, this is certainly not, we're not having a go at anyone. This is more an educational piece and something we've been talking about for a while. So I guess getting back to this card, for example, I asked, I hit you up today over lunch, trying to get a little bit of clarity about what the NBA situation is. And I asked, is every card for someone who is in their rookie year classed as a rookie card across all releases?
Yep.
And you said to me, it's effectively a base card that has rookie RC stamped in it,
yep,
and that's a rookie card. Let's use Zion, for
and
example.
then there's variations of that will continue to have the RC
but
on
there's
them.
Also inserts that don't have it on.
Yeah, there may be inserts that don't have it as well,
yep,
and beyond those initial releases. So effectively, by definition, in the NBA, in modern NBA cards, and I believe it's been happening for the last 20 or so years when they introduced the little RC logo to the cards,
yep,
that's what defines it as a rookie card. And it's all good and proper for someone to say, oh, well, what about Jordan rookies and all these ones from the 70s,
they didn't have
the 70s and 80s and stuff like that? Well, they didn't have it back then. So it's defined in a different way. And that's why, the grading aspect of the Jordans and the scarcity of the Jordans and all that sort of stuff. But it's a different situation. My personal opinion is once there was an introduction of defined rookie, it rules out the notion of any base card being declared as a rookie card. And now it's more of the thing in international product, NBA, NFL and stuff is, well, what is the true rookie card? Is it the first release for the year? Is it the 30th release or what is it? So
yeah, so that then brings the question on. So after we, I got a little bit more information and I kind of knew the answer to this to myself. I'm like, okay, let's go and see if we can actually identify what the rookie card may be for Dusty. So this card, the Justin Martin draft rookie card, and thank you very much, Card Zone, for supplying this picture to us. This was the first card in a mainstream release that actually says draft rookie on it.
Yeah.
And this card was released before the common, which was a Series 2 release. So if we're looking for a rookie card in the example for Dustin Martin,
yeah,
the card on the right-hand side there, his draft rookie card, is his rookie card.
That's my opinion too.
But something that I got into a conversation with the other day, and I can notice Mink's now on screen with our chips, that there's a big difference between a rookie season and a rookie card. We are not the same as the NBA. There's not the same, or US sport, should I say. There's not the same preference on that sort of stuff. Dusty released the card on the right, the draft rookie card. There is then the common card, and then there is his DPS, which is his draft pick signature.
Which is the equivalent of a US rookie signature card.
Correct.
So the same way Zion would have a rookie card, a prism rookie, and then a silver rookie prism, there is a rookie signature, and there's variations of that as well.
Yeah, for sure. And people have also mentioned about Future Force cards, and the analogy that we came to today. Future Force is like the college releases.
the Collegiate releases. So Matty Anderson put a funny comment on a bit of a troll post that I had put up on Good Vibes with a fun post yesterday, and said, well, technically, I put up a Max King thing, and he said, well, technically the 2017 Future Force Max King. And my response to it was, well, no, that would be like the Collegiate version of a Zion rookie card, where he's not wearing, he's not drafted to the team, he's not in the team uniform. And as a result of that, the people don't view that as the rookie is actual, team rookie card sort of thing. And on what you're talking about, I absolutely agree. The Dustin Martin rookie card that is on screen right now, that is the true Dustin Martin rookie card. It is a defined rookie card. It also happens to be a short print insert. It's a 2-in-1 spectacular. The other card on the other side is a mass-produced base card that does not represent his rookie.
And let me just say, all right, as much as, in my opinion, I've identified this as the rookie card, this is going to be open to debate across lots of people. We don't have rookie cards in AFL. AFL is a unique sport.
We've got Series 2 rookie cards. They're called rookie cards, but they operate in a different way.
Aren't they more draft pick cards?
No, they're rookie cards. They're still, and they actually have the RC.
So what were the cards called in Dominance last year?
Rookie cards.
Were they?
Yeah, they're all rookies. So, and that's my position is that AFL cards now and all the way back.
First time I've been wrong in history.
All the way back to 2010, 2011, whenever this Dusty Prestige is from.
Yep.
The reality is, Series 2 every year either has a draft card or a rookie card, and a draft pick signature or a rookie signature or whatever it is. They are the rookie cards. I'm sorry, I'm strong of the opinion that other Dustin Martin is not a rookie card. Someone changed my mind.
Yeah, and look, we can certainly have many debates about this, but in my opinion, the card on the right that says draft rookie is Dustin Martin's first card. It's his rookie card. The card on the left-hand side is his first base common card.
And Danny, no, I'm saying the opposite. The Collegiate cards are actually worth less. And I know this from experience because I once went in a break. I didn't know what I was buying into. It looked sick. They said there was going to be diamonds inserted in some of the cards. I hit the absolute nut card of the whole briefcase thing. Minxie, you'll know what it was. I hit the nut card of the briefcase. It had a diamond in it. I'm like, yeah, this is the shit. It's a signature with a diamond, all this sort of stuff. And unfortunately, people that PC'd the player were just like, no, it's the college version. We're not too careful.
Yeah, and look, Dale just made a really good point here. And again, as we said at the start of this conversation, this is just certainly our opinions. Nobody is the boss of what a rookie is or not. Whether it's the first card or every card from the first year, the market will decide that. And Dale, I 100% agree with that. And as I said, I think this is a debate that has no correct or incorrect answer. I think more the purpose of this is just trying to show to people that there needs to be a little bit of clarity with it, because there are some people that are certainly taking advantage of applying a term that really before 3 months ago has never really been used in AFL.
Yeah.
And the only reason they're applying that term is to try to catch the cross-pollination from the NBA community.
Absolutely.
So, again, there's no right or wrong. I just want to make sure that
people are informed
a little bit, just to see that there's no official rookie card.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, it's the card on the right.
And in this situation and the great debate that's raging about Dusty, I absolutely agree. And I would say that anyone who is looking at buying one of those $50 ones on eBay or whatever, just go buy the full base set for $40 instead, and take the Dusty one out and go and donate the rest of the cards to your local school or whatever.
And look, maybe this is something that Select will look at in the future as we
get. What Gribbs says.
Oh,
great comment by Gribbs. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let me get rid of those.
Not get rid of you, Gribbsy. We'll get rid of the images off the screen.
Simple fix. Select put RC on all the players' first series of cards, rookie card, DPS, common, green, etc. Absolutely, but also it doesn't mean that we necessarily have to go down the same path as what US sports are.
Yeah.
Why do we need to stamp them with rookie cards?
Oh, well, and that's the thing, I suppose.
If we have a rookie card in Series 2.
If you actually have a subset, which is rookies, which we do in Series 2, does stamping the cards actually then take away from?
That's a great point.
Take away from I don't even know what to call it. I don't know the importance of the actual rookie subset as well. But yeah, we are seeing the rise of rookies, DPSs at the moment, and it's all based on speculation. The speculative aspect of trading cards comes from the US sports market. As the hobby in Australia grows and the different genres of cards cross-pollinate, to use your term, we will see it happen more and more. There is no right or wrong as to how someone collects. There's no right or wrong as to how someone buys cards. I think there's ethical issues with people who take advantage knowingly of others by in the way they do things. And I think people need to educate themselves, and it's the responsibility of every person and to educate each other and help each other out and make sure they know what they're looking at.
Yeah, and Wade made a good point here, kind of sort of similar to what I said. We don't call drafted players rookies.
Yeah.
It's not a term that is adopted as strongly in a US in Australian sports versus international sports and US sports.
I know when I refer to something from last year, I call it the draft class, not the rookie class.
Yeah.
When it comes to AFL.
Yeah.
There's a draft combine, not a rookie combine.
But look, this is certainly something that is a debate that we can certainly.
Hot topic.
It's a hot topic, and everyone's sort of got great opinions about it. And as we said at the start, and as what Dale said too, there is no right or wrong answer here. What am I doing here? Certainly let's keep this debate going. I'll put a post up tomorrow on Card Authority, and everyone can give their opinion about it as well. But I think one thing just to close out on this, is there an opportunity in the marketplace now where you've got certain players, whether it's Dusty, Ablett, Pendlebury, Wayne Carey, Tony Lockett, whatever, that their first series cards now suddenly become more valuable if they're graded or they're in good condition or whatever they might be, than perhaps they were 6 or 12 months ago. Because the market is maturing and people are looking to find value and more collectible things and all that kind of stuff, is this going to create a new subset or a new type of collecting where people are going to go back and look at first series releases or first year releases of players?
And it's a really interesting one, because obviously as we go back further in time and we go back to that era where cards didn't have a perceived big secondary market value necessarily, they were created in huge quantity and they were distributed and dispersed in huge quantity. A lot got destroyed and they weren't taken care of as a collectible item, I suppose, by many people.
Yep.
So yeah, it's like the 1980s Fleer cards and stuff like that don't necessarily define them as with the RC.
Yep.
And does it happen? I don't know. I haven't actually probably thought about it enough to really form a position on it, but it's an interesting proposition.
I can just see how the market matures more and people, for me as a Dusty collector, and look, granted, probably not a good example because I got everything with Dusty, but if you're liking Dusty cards now, why wouldn't you go back and try to get some of his earlier stuff that is more rare and more special and there's not so much of it?
Sure.
It's all about finding things to chase and different ways of collecting, which we've talked about many, many times.
Yeah.
So I think, look, it's a strong debate, and thank you, everyone. Look, I haven't got to everyone's questions there, but I hope we've got sort of opened up people's thoughts about it enough. Again, we're not saying we're right or wrong, but it's a great debate. And again, people just, if you're new to the hobby, just do some research and have a look, because it's certainly, in my opinion, it's crazy that people are paying that sort of money for a common card, because that's what it is. It's a common card,
and it's a common card that's not scarce. There's a huge amount of
there's I've got a pile of them.
If it was a short print card, totally different story. But it's just not.
Yeah,
it's not. And calling it that a rare card, it's not. It's not. It's just not.
All right. Well, let's get to everyone's favorite part of the show, which is unicorn hunting. We've had a couple of quiet weeks in the stable, just obviously got a few things on, but we've got a ripper for you today. And I did say that we were going to open up unicorn submissions for Prestige 2021 last week. And thank you for everyone that's been sending them in. If there are any cards for Prestige you are looking for, make sure you jump on the cardauthority.com.au website and submit a unicorn. Likewise, we have our unicorns we're still chasing. So if you've got any of those cards, have a look at the gallery and let us know. But this week, we are looking for a clearance king of Liam Shields, the 001 card.
001. We are looking for the 001. As far as anyone knows, research has been done. It has not surfaced
We
yet,
haven't seen it.
unless someone's got it stashed away and isn't telling anyone. So if you are that person or you know that person, let us know, and we'd love to try and help broker a deal.
That's right. And look, obviously, as we've always said, the new people to the show realize unicorn hunting is not about taking cards out of PCs. If you're a low Hawthorn collector and you have it in your collection, that's fine.
Let us know.
Shoot
as well.
us a message and let us know that it's nice and safe and sound. We've had a couple of cards like that fall in the last couple of weeks where unicorns have been identified as
Unattainable.
unobtainable.
Yeah.
But if you have that card and someone is looking, you're looking to move it, the hunter is certainly willing to broker a trade, or we can certainly help with that. We're not paying. But we're always happy to try to facilitate a trade to land the Liam Shields 001 clearance king to the hunter that is looking for that card.
Absolutely.
But again, if you've got a hunter card you'd like to look at, and Wade, don't spam the comments, all right? Go to cardauthority.com.au, post your unicorn hunting request, and if it's lucky enough to be put on the show, we will certainly help you track it down. Jenks, it's been a big show,
It's been
as
a big
always.
show. We did have a bit more to talk about it. We have run out of time tonight.
We're trying. This is a new mantra.
Next week's going to be huge again. So, and we will definitely introduce the "What's My Card Worth" segment next week.
Oh, I did forget about that.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
make sure you look out for that next week. There is a new segment. It will be a short one every week. We will identify something. What's my card worth?
Hey, and there is a page there, so you can go and find that group if you like. But yeah, we'll talk about it. Sorry, I did forget about that. I know that's your pride and joy, James.
Forgiven, mate. Forgiven.
Well, but look, thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you for everyone's contribution. As always, you can catch our shows on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and of course on the website cardauthority.com.au. Jenks, amazing as always.
Mate, you're the man, AJ. You are the man, and everyone out there, as AJ said, feel free to hit us up. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us within the various communities.
Yep.
Always approachable. Maybe don't have as much time as we would like at the moment, but feel free to hit us up. And yeah, we look forward to next week's episode, and we're going to try and bring these back a bit more frequently whilst we've got time over the next few weeks before the next big releases come.
Yeah, which still we don't have any information, but imagine that'll be in the next month or so. But anyway, thank you, Jenks. Thanks, Minx. Thanks to all you guys, the viewers. Appreciate all the messages, the private ones I've been getting as well on my computer. You guys have a great night. Stay safe, and until next time, we will catch you later. Ciao.